Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the To Hull and Back podcast, proudly sponsored by Old Zoological Bar and Kingfisher Fish and Chips, both in Hull. We're a bit threadbare tonight. You've got me hosting, and Christian, who's usually on the Tigers Talk radio show, has jumped on the main one tonight at very short notice. So we've got to thank him for that, because we had a good, strong, stable panel for most of the day, and then it all just sort of fell apart last minute, and Christian has bailed us out here big time. So thank you so much. Props to you for that, mate. How are you?
Worries. Yeah, I mean, how do you want to start, really, isn't it? It's an awkward one. I mean, I don't want to repeat. I don't just want to keep repeating myself on what I say on Wednesday. I mean, especially after watching what we just witnessed, it's rinse and repeat, isn't it? It is just rinse and repeat, pal. We're seeing the same record over and over again. It's boring now. It's boring now, and it's concerning as well that it's still, we haven't heard any news, let's call it, that the fans want to hear, I guess. I mean,
yeah,
it's there. I mean, it has to be. I mean, let's not get us wrong. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from West Brom, because what are they, sitting happily in fourth? You know, they've won 6 games, drawn something similar, and lost 3. You know what? Let's just quickly pull that up. West Brom, where are you?
Well, what I'll say is they're sat in 5th. They've won 6, drawn 7, lost 2. But before today, they hadn't won in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Drawing the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 4 of those games were 0-0.
And that's the thing, like,
along come Hull City.
Along come Hull. And this is the thing, like, you've got a team that's on that, on that kind of plateau. And let's be fair, like, the amount of games that we've watched so far this season, the 15 matches, you can't really say, other than the Norwich game, anyone's really blown us away and go, Jesus. I mean, Norwich when they were playing at home they were spectacular.
Norwich at home are a force, aren't they?
Oh,
but
yeah.
We've had 2 teams now who haven't won in 8, Oxford and West Brom consecutively. And both of them have turned us over.
Yeah.
And the performances, Portsmouth, Oxford, and today, they're all different. They all have their various complexities and stories behind those performances. And today was actually the best we've played out of all 3 of those games, and the best we've played for as long as I can really remember, dating back. Well, if we get our results up, if we go back, you've obviously got today, Oxford, Portsmouth, Derby, Burnley, Sunderland, Norwich. It's the best I can remember us playing, really, since the 3 wins we had at the end of September and the very, very start of October against QPR. And by very start, I mean literally the 1st of October. But it still yields no points, only 1 goal. And it's a story again, like it was in the first half against Portsmouth, like it was in the first half against Oxford, of having more than enough chances and more than enough possession to go out and do something with the game. And we did take the game to West Brom. We were in that game. But
I agree.
We had 3 shots on target. And that should tell you all you need to know. Yes, 13 shots on goal, cool. But, you know, a header that bounces off your face and deflects into the keeper's arms counts as a shot, really, as an attempt on goal. So you look at shots on target, it's 3 shots on target again.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look back at, like, obviously there's Slater's, which is, you know, should I say it? You should be putting it in. Yeah, okay, you should be in a distance, but where the ball approached, the speed, the angle he was at, I understand why he missed it. I'm not going to criticize Slater on that one.
That was a header, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a header. Yeah, but
you've got to sort of remember as well that for Slater, he's not the tallest lad.
No, he's not. He's not.
There were players.
He knew it was a chance. He knew it was a good chance. You saw it was a chance.
It was right in front of me. I could see him boot that stanchion and what have you. And you could tell he knew it was a chance. But I'll cut him slack because there are players on that pitch you'd want it to fall to, other than him, like Pedro on there. Fantastic header for our goal, right? Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Great ball, floated in by Louis Coyle, who for the first sort of 20 minutes looked a little bit on the ropes, but came back, got the assist, and had a good spell in the second half as well. And then the ball in, Pedro, fantastic glancing header, loop past the keeper, great. João Pedro in the box is by far and away the best striker we've got.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, that's obvious. That is obvious. Look, the guy, I'm going to say it again, he puts in effort up top and he goes for the closing down and tries and everything. And his runs, he's doing the right runs. I just think it's his age. He's just like half a yard off being on the end of a couple of good crosses. And you saw it again today. We were whipping a couple of balls in and he was sliding about, admittedly on his backside a lot of the times to get to him. But if it was maybe someone else a bit younger with a bit more of a spring in the step, would they have reached it over Pedro? And I think they would have just. But I'm not going to take anything away from the guy.
Pedro was 4 years younger. What a player we'd have.
Yeah, I probably say that. I mean, it'd be nice to have someone next to him as well to help with those little bits and bobs. But especially now, I just don't understand. And that's kind of where, again, I was a bit disappointed with the lineup in a way. And I don't mean the players that were playing. I'm talking about the positions that were playing. Because...
Besto right wing.
Yeah. Like, he can't play. He did one nice cross. And he did actually a good few runs, which were played to him from Louis Coyle at times. Because, like I say, in the first 25 minutes, I don't want to criticize Louis Coyle because we all know, he loves the club and he's a grafter. But for the first 25 minutes, it was one of those where he slowed the game down too much for me. Really slowed the game down too much. And every kind of pass that he was doing was to Jones. It was always to Jones. You're smiling away, but it was. And
it was. It was. It's just funny at this point, isn't it?
It is.
Like Foxy's put in chat, if you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We've got to laugh. And with respect to Besto, I can see a player. I just don't see a winger at all. I see him. Yeah. I see him with somebody else up top. That's the only way I ever see him. Other than that, I don't understand his purchase. Because if you expect him as a lone striker, he's never going to be a lone striker. If you've got someone playing with him to play off, link up 1-2.
Someone really close as like a 10 or a shadow striker or something like that. Like Abdush in there as almost a false 9 next to him.
Yeah, exactly. And then Besto would work. I do believe that. And if we played a bit more compact, it would definitely work. I mean, today I thought we were a bit widespread open at times, especially on the counter-attack or when they had possession and they were building up. I thought our backline played a lot deeper than usual when we lost possession. Now, I don't know if that's to counter the counter-attack of the fear of, when we lose the ball in those type of positions and they're running at us. But what it did allow was the opposition, West Brom, to have that kind of more space to pass into for them to build up a bit more. But saying that, we held our own today. I don't. It's hard to say this, isn't it? We held our own defensively in a way, but we lost 2-1. And
it's a very awkward game to look at, isn't it? Because if we look purely on performance, which we're talking about, we were better today, which is what we said earlier. But again, it comes back to the fact of the matter is we still got no points from it.
Right, do you know what? Did we play better or did we do more fight? Because I don't know if we played better. I thought we had a bit more fight about it. You know, we were involved in more tackles. We tried to win the ball back more. There was a bit more effort. But I can't honestly say it looked like we played better, if you understand where I'm coming from with that. It just looked like we had a bit more fight in us today. And
yeah,
I mean, it's lovely. It's lovely to have a team that's fighting. It's nice, but it's not getting us anywhere. And that's one of the things. It's like, is it a player thing? Is it a skills of the players, or is it the tactics? And a lot of people are 50-50 on both. Now, for me, all right, this is my, guys, do not kill me when I say this, everybody that's watching. For me, yeah, up top is a problem. We don't have a quality striker. But from midfield to defence, obviously we've lost two key wingers, which is going to be absolutely, it's going to be painful for us now.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but just on that quickly, I know that in articles in the week, the injury crisis excuse has been used by, well, essentially by Baz as a mouthpiece of what he's heard from the higher ups at the club as to why Tim's still getting time. And I disagree with that massively, because Andy Smith, Lottatala and Cartwright, with all due respect, none of them would play anyway. I like them all as people. They're all class, but none of them would play. Tim said it in his press conference the other day. Andy's fit, but he's just not playing.
Yeah.
Malem, I can see why to Tim that's a loss, but he generally just sort of coasts through games.
I agree.
Alzate, we haven't seen play hardly. He's played 10 minutes against Cardiff and 10 minutes against Norwich. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
So you can't say he's a loss because we haven't seen him much and we don't know what he'll add to the team. Rushworth again hasn't played, so you can't class him as a loss. Kamara, short term, he's going to miss 2 games. He's going to be back first game after the international break. And then that leaves Balumi and Miller, who in isolation are losses. But I was talking to someone today and they made the point, and I agree with this so much. Liam Miller is a one-half player. As in, at half-time, you sub him on, and then when defenders are a little bit tired is when he looks at his best. But if you start him from the start, a fullback just knows, all right, I'm just going to turn my body like this.
Yep.
And then he cannot do what he's good at, getting inside and putting the ball in the box, be it a shot or a cross.
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
And I think, well, one of my mates, we refer to Liam Miller as Ryan Longman in a frilly dress. And I think Longman coming on today had an absolutely fantastic game. It's obviously all in perspective, but he looked eager to get on the ball, didn't lose it when he had it, gave Callum Styles a run around, put some good crosses into the box, made some good runs, had himself in good positions, and coming on in a game like that, that's all you can ask of him, really.
Yeah, it looked like, to be honest, it didn't look like he was playing Tim's style, if I'm honest with you. He looked like he was playing the right style of football.
He was just doing Ryan Longman direct.
Exactly. His movement, I saw him literally go at I think it was about the 80th minute, and he had the ball and he on the right. He carried it into the middle a bit, did the pass, but then he continued his run out over to the left just to receive the pass again, just so he could keep going on, and he had the legs, which was really nice to see. I'm not usually, the Longman, all hail Longman, as someone we know.
Yeah, Nathaniel's the Longman cheerleader on this
He
podcast.
is the cheerleader, yeah, without a doubt, which I'm very surprised he isn't here for at the moment, because I guarantee you'd been absolutely raving. The segment would have just been about Longman for the
title
hour.
would have been Longman back.
Yeah, exactly.
To Longman and back.
But Longman today, when he came on, he was the biggest positive I saw. And I think that's, with him being the sub that came on, I'm not going to want to include like a video coming up because it was just no point.
No,
he didn't do
absolutely
anything. No point. It was too late for anything anyway. And at the same time, there was just no point. It kind of didn't do as much anyway. But all the other substitutions that could have happened didn't happen. And though we had the kind of the effort, and I'll give that, sometimes we just needed to change it up like West Brom did. I think by the time we did our first substitution, West Brom did 4.
Well, they made a change on like the 51st minute, and I said to my dad, like, couldn't they have just done that at half time?
Yeah, I mean, I get it around the 60th minute because that's generally where most players will come out after the second half. They'll have that 15-minute burst of full energy, knowing that they're coming off in the 60th minute. That 15 minutes, they're the ones that are going to press. But today, nothing. And it was strange. It was really strange because I would have expected a bit more earlier. I think Longman coming on earlier would have been perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It would have changed quite a bit. It's really, God, being a Hull fan, guys, it's hard, isn't it? It's really hard. I mean, we're saying all this. We're all looking backwards and forwards. It's never dull in Hull. That's the saying. It's never dull in Hull. But talking on the subs as well, which I don't know if you know more about, because I don't, but no Jarvis.
I found that weird. So I was talking just outside the media suite to a couple of people about wingers, and I wasn't there when the players arrived to get on the bus, but I noticed Abu Kamara's car wasn't where all of them park, and I said, well, Kamara's car's not there, so he usually comes here, so he's probably not here. He's probably not in the squad, probably not fit.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be true. And I just assumed Jarvis would be in the squad then.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. Obviously, Longman and Cynic were back on the bench. But yeah, I expected Will Jarvis to start having, he was in the team for the last home game against Portsmouth. He was
subbed on for
brought
Oxford.
on against Oxford. Yeah, he was on the bench against Derby, and then before that was obviously Miller's injury, so that pushed him out the pecking order. But as soon as Miller's been injured, he's been back in the fold, and I do wonder why he wasn't in there today. And yeah, it surprises me that, because he wasn't in the squad at all. He didn't, like, if you want to call it for the sake of ease here, the quote travelling squad, the squad that would go on the day to an away game kind of thing. So Jarvis wasn't in the group that got off the coach. He didn't do what Timothy Lotter-Tyler did and just come straight from home in his own car. And he just wasn't involved at all. Kyle Rushworth was there, sat behind the dugout during the game, so he's still at the club. He's still actively in and around the area, and that loan will continue as far as I can see. And, well, yeah, back to, it just seems weird not to have Jarvis.
It seems like there's so much going on that, like, behind the scenes, for little things like Jarvis just not turning up, and like with how the fans are and things like that. I mean, I understand Jarvis hasn't been particularly happy ever since his recall, but as a professional, you kind of grit down, prove my point at the club, get my stock up, let's call it, as a player, and go from there. And I don't know. It's not just me, I believe, feeling this. I think a lot of the fans are feeling this too, that there's a lot more behind the scenes that's going on, because I don't know if you witnessed Tim's interview after the game.
I've not had a listen to it yet. I've not had a chance.
I mean, it's a rinse and repeat, but a very deflated rinse and repeat. A very tired, stressed out rinse and repeat. I mean, it was one of those saying, like, for 93 minutes we dominated the game, but yet we still lost.
Well, that's just factually incorrect. For 20 minutes we had nothing, but whatever.
Come on, this is Tim. But I mean, I get it. There was fight there today, which was nice. But there's just something else. I don't know. There's just something else. To see the players have a fight. I don't mean have a fist fight. Sorry, guys. I mean, like, literally have a bit of the fight on the pitch. Yeah, battles on the pitch. Trying to get the ball. When the ball was lost, there was chasing down. You know, they were trying everything to get that ball back and keep possession. I saw that today, which was really nice. Tactics, obviously, wise, still let us down with the playing certain style. I think at a lot of stages when the ball was obviously at the back, which is a lot of the time in the game, there wasn't enough movement around, or there isn't a clue on how to get around, because obviously we're so obvious on how to prevent going forward. But it just seems, I don't know, there's something going on behind the scenes, and I think something's going to come out with the woodwork soon, but not what we all hope, if that makes sense, especially with the international break now.
Okay.
I mean, let's be honest. Between me and you, I mean, everyone's listening now, but during this, like, break coming up, Tim's still going to be here, isn't he? He's still going to go. Exactly.
Well, Coxie says Tim once again going straight down the tunnel. He doesn't want to face the fans now, I don't think.
Oh, no, he praised the fans in his interview, though. He praised the fans. Trust me, it looked forced. It looked forced as hell.
Well, the thing is, right, I think even though we lost, I said before the game, I had so many conversations before the game, I said a defeat today will still not be enough to for him to lose his job. And that second half performance, which was fantastic by the standards we've had this season, is also, well, it only affirms that fact, that thought in my mind. And Coxie mentions Acun wasn't there today. Now, I do want to dissect this just a little bit, because, right, there can be multiple explanations for this. There can be, like, Acun has missed games in his ownership, right? Let's just make that clear straight away. He's missed Donny in the Carabao Cup last year. He missed Chef Wednesday in the Carabao Cup this year. He's missed league games when it's been daughters' birthdays or Ramadan and stuff like that. Cool. Owners miss games. A lot of owners don't go to games. So the fact, the Alams didn't for so many years. So the fact Acun regularly comes to games and was at QPR away, Stoke away, reportedly at Oxford as well, but it's not been confirmed. That's positive. However, with no Tan as his number 2, right-hand man, representative, whatever you want to call it, it felt particularly important for Acun to be here today.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. That director's box was empty. The people who were sat in his seat were, I think, Mustafa Yurks and Mertan Agel, who were, in case you're interested, 2 members of the Brain team, both ex-footballers. You can Google them. Now, I get owners miss games. It happens. But like I say, today felt particularly poignant for Acun to be there because he has no Tan. There's been such a sort of expression of opinion from the fans over the course of this past week. It felt as though he should have been there and he wasn't. And the obvious explanation for that is, once I quickly load up some Google, was Fenerbahce were playing. They kicked off at 4 o'clock UK time against Sivasspor. They won 4-0. Goals from Samet Akaydin, Dusan Tadic with a penalty, Sofyan Amrabat and Alan Son Maximan. Not a particularly important game is Sivasspor, is it? Fenerbahce currently second in the table. They are, 5 points behind Galatasaray. And Sivasspor sat in 7th. They're 9 points behind Fener. It's not like they're playing Gala. And it just feels again. Hold on.
You loaded it up. I'm trying to get it up now, yeah.
I'm loading something.
There he goes.
Come on. Nope. It just feels, I mean, for audio listeners, this is shocking, but for live listeners and people watching this back on YouTube, you'll like this. It again feels like a sucker punch dose of that.
You might want to go on my Twitter. On my let me find it for you.
Oh, what have you tweeted the same thing?
Indeed, I have, sir. Indeed, I have. It was something that popped up the other day. I'm going to try and find it for you now. I'll have to send you the image via the Discord.
I think another one you're on about. Is it Acun edited over Andy?
It is. There you go. I've sent you it now on Discord. I don't know if that would help.
I know which one you mean. I found it on Twitter. Basically, for audio listeners, it's the scene from Toy Story where Andy has just been greeted with a new Buzz Lightyear toy, and he has Woody in his hand, and Woody falls to the floor, and it's sort of, I don't want to play with you anymore because I've got Buzz. Fenerbahce are Buzz Lightyear. Acun is Andy. We are Woody.
We are Woody. Indeed.
And
I agree.
He's been spending this week negotiating, because the Turkish FA is an absolute mess. Yeah. He's been negotiating with Galatasaray and the Turkish FA to get foreign referees in to referee each game. So, like, Gala will pick the referees for their home game, and Fener will pick the referees for their home game against each other. And look, it might not be the reason, but it's something that people can point to and say, we're being put down a second here. We've got all of this going on, and
we're being cast aside a little bit.
With Tan leaving in the circumstances he did, we're not going to talk about that. And what have you. It feels as though this is a game that Acun should have been at. And I'm not criticizing him because it might have been something totally different to that. That's not the way I want this to come across. But I can see why some people are when...
No, I agree. Look, it is one of those where it does have that feeling.
At 4 o'clock UK time kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, I didn't watch the Fenerbahce game, and I don't know if he was there. So I can only speculate if he was or wasn't. But
let me have a look.
It does. Yeah, I agree. It does feel like the moment the priorities for himself have shifted. And I'm really confident in saying this part. Acun doesn't want us to get relegated. What owner wants that? So let's get this out clear. No owner wants that. However, do I feel at the moment where is priority? No. Do I feel that ever since this kind of Tan situation, even though we're not going to go into that, but with Tan being gone, do I feel Acun has stepped up to cover that gap? No.
But
Don't feel like he has.
someone else, just to play devil's advocate, someone else in the club may have taken those responsibilities that Tan did, but it's the fact we don't see that.
Yes.
And it's a representation thing. And that today, especially with everything that happened after Oxford, and Acun claims to be on social media with a little burner account that no one's managed to dox yet, that someone probably will eventually, that he's not here feels like a bit of a kick in the teeth. And especially when Acun admitted he was focused on Fenerbahce to get their signings done before they kicked off their Champions League qualifiers. It just, feels a bit of a kick in the teeth. And I could understand why people might be criticising him for it and pointing to Fener. I'm not using the Fener as, that's so obvious that happened. It's just an easy thing to point to, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to hear, look, I'm not speaking for everybody here, but I personally don't want to hear Acun out. Stupid to say, I think, at this early stage as well. I mean, Acun's done so much for the club already. And the guy has put a lot of effort and money into the club. And he has gone out and he's tried to bring the fans together. You know, he's filled out the seats a bit more. He's fixed up the membership the way it all works. And you know what? The guy's done really, really good for the club. Please don't slate the guy because we've now got a manager in charge and that he picked, I will say he picked, yes, but he picked with the intentions of this going completely different. And now it's failed spectacularly or failing, in the most worst way possible at the moment. Look, guys, you can see it there. Only out of the relegation zone at the moment because of our goal difference. That's it. It's as simple as that. And guess who our next game's against? Luton. Same points, worst goal difference. And if we lose to them and everybody else on the same points wins, we are 100% in that relegation zone. And that's one of the things which we also, I think a lot of us aren't even looking at. You look at the wins, well, yes, identical to Preston, but yet we've got a better goal difference. Then below that, Luton, they've got 4 wins. Okay, goal difference is a bit worse, but they've still got 4 wins. Then you've got Cardiff, identical to Luton as well. But yet, in the last 5 games, Luton have got a win. Cardiff have got 2 wins, and they've each got a draw. Preston's on the same trajectory as we are at the moment. So that's a little... Oh, big free fall. Yeah, I mean, in the last 5 games, they've drawn 3 and lost 2. But yet Portsmouth, at the moment, loss, draw, loss, win. So 1 more win, they're going to be equaling us, but again, their goal difference is horrific. And the only team that has had 3 draws and 2 losses other than Preston is QPR. Sat at the very bottom with 10 points. And Luton is a must-win.
It is.
It is a must-win. There's no delusion to it because after Luton, the games that we have after Luton, Sheff Wednesday, Middlesbrough away, Rovers, Watford. I mean, these are games that last year we would have looked at and gone, we'll either get a point or a win. That's how we were looking at this last year.
Now we'll get a point max.
I hope we get a point.
Yeah.
It's not even a point. I hope. Or we don't get in front and concede again after whatever. But today
Yeah.
was completely different. The first half, to concede 2 goals like we did. I mean, the fans wise, I mean, I asked you this before we came on stream. What was it like after the second goal went in? What was the stadium like? Did we see people get off seats?
I thought it would be. Well, I thought it would be a lot more toxic than it was, but there was a sort of rally behind, sort of as close to a rally round the flag as you can get in football kind of thing. It was right, let's stick together and not turn. But I think if it got to 3-0 rather than 2-1, and that second half performance was akin to Portsmouth or Oxford, I think we would have seen it turn. But because we had the ball, because we were in their half, it wasn't. And
right. Well, look, I don't want to waffle on about Acun much more, but if Acun was at today's game, what do you think his reaction would have been to seeing what the stadium was like? Would that have swayed his decision?
Tony says we should move on because the biggest problem is we haven't got a decent
strike. Look, we agree with that, Tony. Look, we're not debating that. It's more to do with like. I love Acun. Yeah. Look, I love Acun. It's nothing like that. That is not really there. What I'm trying to put across is, if he was there today, what outcomes could have come because he was there?
Well, Paul suggests that if Acun was present, he would have had to dealt with the speculation on Walter's future head on. Not being here, he's bought himself a little bit of time.
That's exactly it, Paul. That's what I'm trying to lead to. If he was there, he would have heard the crowd. And I think the crowd would have let him know as well. And you can't just shy away from that when the fans are in front of you, all saying the same thing. So that's one of the things about today, that why it was important for him to be there today. To hear the cries, really. Like you said, we're not laughing, we're crying. Well, sorry, we aren't crying now. We are going to laugh because it's just too painful to keep crying on about it. But it's tricky. I mean, look, all we can do is look forward and hope this break kind of fires us up again. I really, truly hope, because the injuries that we've got, and losing Zambrano as well is a huge hindrance. You know, we can't expect the football we were expecting. Now we are missing those kind of players, because you've got to think, when we've been doing the drills and the training and everything like that, we've been doing that with Balumi, with Miller, with Zambrano, with Elzate, with probably Carl Rushworth as well at one stage, even though Pandoy is just being a hero again. I mean, Jesus Christ, to stop that third goal from going in. Oh my God, what a save that was. Yeah. Because I thought that was it. I thought that was in. And I think also you've got to think with the rotational players that are going to be coming in. I mean, we've already said about, I don't know where, well, with Longman today coming in. I want to go to Hughes, because I said something before the game, and look, guys, I really do love Hughes. I think Hughes is quality, but, and this is a button, guys, it can't just be me seeing it. He's made 1 or 2, more like 2 or 3, kind of pressured mistakes every game. And we've been over then when his first game, when he came on and he lost the ball when he came on as a sub. But it's a very, very similar style of thing in that we're seeing week in, week out. I just hope that he don't get caught out on it, because if he does get caught out, the fans, the way they are at the moment, may turn on Hughes as well. Even though at the moment it's like, yes, Hughes, everyone's loving Hughes. I think his quality, I think his effort's been amazing. I think his strength's been brilliant. The switch balls that he's been doing as well, at times have been bang on. Sometimes they look forced. I will say that at certain occasions, because that looks like what he's been told to do. But big shout out to Hughes. Jones as well. I think Jones has been brilliant. Drame today as well. I thought Drame actually, put in a shift. He really did. I mean,
yeah,
it's funny to say that those guys are doing really good, but yet we're conceding 2 goals.
I know. Well, Monco Man makes the point that Hughes is quality, but doesn't help when he's been played into trouble sometimes, and Panda needs to realise sometimes the boot is the right option. Hughes is quality. He is a cracking player. He'll go on to be a cracking player.
We know this.
Trying to make is there are a couple of times where against a different opposition, he may have been punished more harshly for little times he's being caught out. And that happens with every player to an extent. Of course it does.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those that happens and we can notice happens. It's all right to acknowledge it. It's not a
we're not slating him. We're just saying it's happening, a few times out per game, and it's kind of worrying that the point of if he was against a different kind of opposition, he may get caught out, and we don't want the fans to turn on someone like Hughes because Hughes has been the one thing that is the fans are behind his quality. Like you said, I mean, I'm not saying you've snapped us there, but you've just got what you're on about. Hughes' quality. Yeah, we know. But we're just saying what we've highlighted and seen. If somebody else came on and kind of took it, those little mistakes or got into the end of those mistakes, the scary thing is the fans will turn. And if the fans turn on the person that we're all looking up to, God, it'd be so scary.
There was something I was going to mention, and I've forgotten what it was.
Omar.
Abdush, we can mention that. Good game.
Yeah.
Good game. Was put central for a little bit and was effective there. Best game he's had all season for me, that.
100%.
And it's just an international break coming up where we're going to have to sit, wait, and see what happens. For me, as the point has come to me, this season reeks of 2 seasons, if you get what I'm trying to say. It reeks of the first half of 22-23 under Shota Arveladze, before Liam Rosenior came in, of a team of mostly new players that are trying to glue themselves together and a manager who's trying to glue them together, and it's just not happening. And Acun acted then. He made the move.
Yeah, he did.
And it also, Baz put a tweet out at full time in which he said, that's it, defeat again for Hull City, who lose 2-1 to West Brom, and they remain out of the bottom 3 on goal difference. Luton next up, relegation 6-pointer. That performance smacks of a team sleepwalking into a relegation battle. Work hard, concede 2 poor goals, miss a sitter and lose. Does that not remind you of the second half of the 2019-20 season once Bowen and Grzycki had gone?
Yeah.
Think about Swansea at home, 4-4. Hard work. Players were fighting for it, clearly. But it just didn't happen on the day because although we scored 4, with the greatest of respect, Marcus Maddison, Martin Samuelsson, they're not Jared Bowen and Kamil Grzycki. They're not. And we're even lighter up front. Now, I'm not saying losing Miller and Bellumi is anywhere akin to losing Bowen and Grzycki, but it feels like a team. I mean, Walter admitted that we might be in a relegation battle. And it's, I mean, Tony,
it's hard to hear, mate. It's hard to hear.
The team's nowhere near as bad as the Shota team. 1 quality midfielder and at least 1 quality striker will be a top half team. Liam Rosenior had that Shota team pushing top half. There was a point in that season where we thought we can get playoffs here. It's still on. and then we just went on a couple of draws and it didn't happen. So it's a similar sort of thing where a lot of new players are coming together, and there's a manager who can't seem to get a tune out of them when they're all together. A different manager might come in, like Rosenior did, change things, and there we are.
Yeah.
And they're going again.
That goes on to, like, when we're talking about the attackers.
It does. Like, and I just want to say to Tony quickly, this team is more than capable of more than Tim Walter is getting out of it, I think. So was that Shota team. Liam Rosenior proved that. It's a matter of time for me before someone else comes in and gets more out of this side. And Stevie, you say Rosie had Carvalho, Delap, Philogene. Not in that first season. Not in that first half season where he took over. Instead of those players, he had... who did we have up top that year? Bloody hell, I can't think. Tyler Smith, Ben Tete, Oscar.
Tete, yeah.
Carvalho, instead he had Traore. Philogene, instead he brought in Malcolm Ebiowei on loan. He had Dokan.
Oh my God, yeah.
Who couldn't keep fit. Alaya, who couldn't keep fit. Pelkas, who couldn't impact the game at championship level. He had Shota's team for the most part for 5 months. If you discount Carl Darlow, Aaron Connolly and Malcolm Ebiowei, he had a Shota Arveladze team for 5 months. Yeah. Then in the summer, he put his stamp on it. Delap, Philogene, Morton, Connolly back again. And then in January, added to that with Carvalho, Ohio, Zaruri, Giles, Panda. I feel like we are coming to the end of the discussion now overall on the Holland Back podcast tonight. So, but the argument that Liam had a fantastic squad from the start is nonsense.
Yeah, no,
because
not all.
He had a squad probably similar to, in terms of caliber, to what we've got now. And it's just a matter of getting a manager and a style to get the most out of it. Tyneside Tiger says the current squad could make top half potentially, but would never be anywhere near the playoffs with zero firepower up front. That's how it felt in Rosenior's first season. Do you not remember when we brought all the players in the summer under Shota and we thought this team can mix things up? And it just didn't. And all of a sudden it came, right, stay up and see how high we can get up the table after that. Yep. And I'm not sure whether we are waiting for January, Stevie, but we definitely need a striker. Yeah. Pedro in the box is all right. I said earlier in the show, if he's 4 years younger, we've got a very different player because he's got a bit more pace. But, 4 years ago, he was playing in the top half of Serie A.
Even if Walter was a bit more lenient, or how can I put it? Just know the players you've got available at the moment and how they play. I mean, Bairstow on the wing is just...
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. You can see he's a type of striker that would play off somebody else.
Yeah, and I didn't mention earlier when we were talking about Bairstow that despite being out of position, I thought he had a very good game.
He tried his hardest.
He gave it a go, tried his best, and that's all you can ask from a player when they're put out of position on what, let's not forget, is their first start for this football club.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I can tell you now.
Shall we finish with everyone in chat? We've got 400 and odd people watching at the moment, which is fantastic, watching live. If you put in chat, will Tim Walter be in charge at the Luton game to finish it off? Because for me...
Will Luton be his last game? That is it. It's one of those.
For me, he'll definitely be in the dugout against Luton. The first one we've got is yes, but he shouldn't be. We'll wait a little bit for more to come in. Christian, what are your thoughts?
Obviously, if he wins, he's staying. But if it's a lose, he's got to go. I'm just afraid Acun will hang out till Christmas. But don't get me wrong, he's got to go now. Let us actually get somebody to kind of fix the issues over this period of time that we've got. This break. You've got 2 weeks. Get someone to fix it now, not hold off and let's see how it happens and blah blah blah, because you just wasted 2 weeks.
And let Luton get Mark Robins. Acun's egos keeping Walter in a job. Matt Robbins is available. You have to go and get him. Matt Robbins, anyone. He'll still be there for Chef Wednesday. Tim ain't going anywhere. Walter will be in charge for it and after it, and a yes.
Yeah.
Christian, thank you for bailing us out at short notice. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we'll see you on Wednesday, where you'll have to listen to me and Christian again on Tigers Talk. I'm not sure whether it's pre-recorded yet or not because of my availability, but we will see. So thank you very, very much for watching, listening, and we will see you all. If you're going to tune in on Humber Wave Radio and on our video platforms live on Wednesday, that's fantastic. If it's live, if not pre-recorded, and if you're just listening on audio, we will see you after the international break, I suppose. If you're watching on YouTube, drop us a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're watching us on Twitter, Facebook, give us a follow, all that kind of thing. So, yeah, thank you, everybody, and we will see you all very soon. Up the Tigers, and goodbye.